What's up, guys? Let's talk about some fun topics like, what are demons? What is the devil? What is hell? What are angels? Let's talk about these things. We need to start with the foundation, though, of knowing who we are to understand these things, really understand them. We need to know who we are. So, start from the foundation. We are source. We are source. We are the one infinite, eternal source creator. That is who we are. That is what everything and everyone is. We are consciousness. We are individualized fractals of fractals of fractals of fractals of source. We are made in the same likeness as our creator, which means we are creators. We create our reality. So, any stories we tell ourselves, any mythology or religion or whatever that we believe in becomes part of our reality that we're creating, the story we're telling ourselves. So, when you know this, you understand that everything becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everything. So let's look at where these ideas of demons and angels and gods and devils come from, right? They come from ancient times. They come from a time where language and vocabulary was not nearly as expansive as it is today. Not even close, all right? That was a time where people understood things more energetically, psychically. It was more, they had more understanding of themselves from a higher sense, an energetic sense. They did not look at everything the way that like we've been taught to through like these Newtonian scientific ideas that everything's physical, that you're just a body, that, you know, all this stuff. But realize that there was a fall of man, this descension into lower vibrations, lower frequencies, that the planet was cycling through and humanity goes with it, right? This distorted the stories that people used to tell. So we have all these stories of all these gods and these deities, and yeah, a lot of them represent, say, higher frequential beings who used to, from a linear perspective, be here and walk amongst humans. We could say lower frequential beings of humans living alongside higher frequential beings and learning from them, stuff like that. That used to happen. That's like the stories of the Anunnaki, and we go back to Atlantis and the ancient Egyptian gods and the ancient Greek gods and all these different things. They're just deities. They're not God. They're not source. They're not all that is, but they are also source, of course. But a lot of those stories also represent energies and different processes in the body or understanding yourself. These stories, as we went into lower frequencies, became more and more distorted. People began taking them literally and looking at them through fear. That's how people get to these like doomsday and apocalyptic scenarios, and they create these nightmares of what they think reality is. And because of that, we then start to think that there are outside forces who can hurt us. We think that there's an evil force out there, and that God represents the good and the devil represents the evil, and God's fighting the evil and he's got to destroy it, and he can't just choose that. He can't just do that, apparently. Apparently it's got to be done through this weird game where humans have to try and figure it out, right? Like that's the idea people have. But that's not really what it is. This is something Aaron Abke says a lot. and I love it. It's an affirmation. There are not two powers. I am resting in one power, meaning there is one eternal, infinite source, God, all that is, the all, and it is love. And there are no other sources of power anywhere. And there's nothing separate from the all. It's not possible for there to be something separate from the all. So even the idea of hell is completely illogical. It doesn't mean that there's not a place that people can experience what hell would be like, but it was always meant metaphorically as a state of being in a state of fear, stuck in those lower vibrations of fear, shame, guilt, which come from the beliefs in separation and lack, which only exist because here, when we are born, we forget who we are. There is a veil of forgetting. That's what created the negative polarity. Because in truth, everything is love. That's the foundation of everything, unconditional love. That's what existence is, love. The only way something other than love can be experienced is if you, the creator being, choose to experience that. And the only way you could really experience separation or lack, fear of any kind, is if you didn't know who you were. So you come in here and we have duality suddenly, positive and negative, love and fear. And through the lens of fear, many people have raised many people who have raised many people with these ideas of fear and negativity, and that there's all these shortages and we're always in competition, and it's survival of the fittest, and better watch out for those people. They maybe they're evil, maybe the devil's got them, and maybe they'll want to eat you or kill you or something. I don't know. And that's where like barbaric times came in, when we went into these lower frequencies and descended into the lower vibrations and fear, and they became part of our belief systems, part of our culture. But thankfully, we're on the upswing of that cycle, which was a 75,000 year cycle. It was 3 25,000 year cycles that eventually brought us into the lowest frequencies that any beings anywhere could live. And so it's pretty messed up. But lots of good things were learned during that time. And we have to understand that it's all temporary experiences. And now we're on the upswing, which is why these higher ideas and these higher frequencies are available now. And anyone can choose to align with those if they'd like to, or they can stay in the lower timelines and the lower vibrations. It's up to them. And where their soul is where they're meant to be. It's best for them right now. And that's okay. But anyone who wants to go up and up and up, I'm here for that. Let's do that. It sounds more fun. So demons are really attachments to lower vibrations. That's what they are. So there's, the demon of fear, the demon of gluttony, the demon of lust, the demon of envy or greed, and some other ones. But they're all just lower vibrational things. They're just lower vibrational attachments. You could think of them, if you want to, if it makes it easier, you could think about them as like shadow entities that are attached to you. And the more attention you give those lower vibrations, the stronger they get, because you're feeding them your energy. This is why like the mass media and stuff like that has gotten such a bad rap, especially among the spiritual community, because they feed fear to the public. They don't discern truth through love and fear. They just report shit. And of course, there are people up top who absolutely are saying, hey, push fear. We need to keep people in fear because they're easier to control. You can't control a being who's not afraid. It's not possible. I have complete autonomy and sovereignty over myself. I don't care what everyone else is living at. I don't care what the government says. I know myself. I decide what's right for me. That's the choice everyone has and they're able to make. If you want to, if you're ready for that. Feels like a lot of responsibility, but let me tell you, it's the only way to liberation. It's the only way to true freedom, is taking that responsibility and accountability for yourself and doing what's best for you, doing what's best for your loved ones, doing what's best for everyone. Because ultimately, what's most loving for you is most loving for everyone, and what's most loving for everyone is most loving for you. It's all in loving relationship. You know? So, knowing that, we know that the more energy we give something, the more it expands. So these lower vibrational attachments, these demons, can be very expanded in your reality, in your energy field, if you continue to feed them. So for example, anxiety. Anxiety is what? Fear. It's a lower vibrational thought pattern. As long as you identify with your thoughts, it will create anxiety. As long as you identify as someone with anxiety, you'll have anxiety because you're identified with it. Instead, you need to say something like, I'm experiencing anxiety right now, but I know that it's temporary. It is not who I am. Anxiety is not who I am. Low vibrational thoughts are not who I am. I am love. I am light. I am high vibrational thoughts. I am not the low vibrational stuff. I don't need to trust that ever. In fact, every time I have a lower vibrational thought, it's just telling me I'm at a low vibration right now. And low just means slow. You're vibrating at a slower rate. It's not bad. It's not bad. It doesn't have to be bad. But because it's lower than our core natural frequency, it feels uncomfortable, especially when we have fear or negative perspectives attached to that. In truth, you could go into a low vibration and just chill, just relax, just breathe, just be peaceful, and it's fine. And every time you go into a low vibration, it just means you're going to go back up into a higher one later, right? Because it's just cycling back and forth, back and forth. As far up as you go, you have to go just as far down. As far down as you go, you have to go just as far up. And you could just stay at a balance if you want to and have just very little things, you know, but that's your choice. It's your choice. And you have to learn how to cultivate these states of being in yourself and find what works best for you, what makes you feel good, you know, and a lot of this is just mental. It's all mental because the universe is mental. And so what is the devil? The devil is just ego. It's us believing the wounded part of ourselves, us believing the inner critic, the inner judge. What are they running up there? Jumping? Anyway. It's just fear. It's just low vibrational stuff. The devil is in the details. No, the devil is it's just fear. It's really all it is. It's a metaphor for fear. And maybe, sure, somebody's creating some goat boy thing, to be the devil, you know, and maybe they experience it. Maybe they see it. That's their choice. That's their creation. Maybe there's a hell. Maybe someone's creating and experiencing a hell right now, or what they think is hell. They have seen a bunch of fire demons. Maybe they're being tortured, whatever. As soon as they remember, oh, I'm love and light. God, please forgive me. Guess what? They're out of it. There's no eternal place of damnation or separation from God. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's not logical. Nothing can be separate from God because God is all that is. Everything is emanating from the one eternal infinite source. There is no place where God is not. There is no being that God is not. So even if there's some entity creation posing as a devil or a demon or whatever, they don't have any real power. They only have as much power as you give them. So yeah, collectively, humanity is creating a devil and a hell and demons and all this stuff. But as soon as you don't buy into that, as soon as you don't want that to be your reality, you don't have the choice. You have the choice. You don't have to experience that. There is no evil outside of you forcing you into fear and all this stuff. Nothing's outside of you. External doesn't really exist. It's a perception. And what you are, your true core frequency, who you really are, is love. You are source. You are the creator. You are the creator of your reality. You are the creator itself. You're not separate from it. And it doesn't mean that your little individualized soul, your little fractal of a fractal of a fractal of source is all that is, but you're not separate from it. You're not separate from anything or anyone. And now we move on to angels, because now you need to know what an angel is. Because this isn't all, actually, none of this is gloomy. It's all very good news. Like this is the good news. This is the gospel. This is what Jesus and all the other great spiritual teachers were talking about. Reality is way more loving, way more merciful than you think it is. It's more loving and more merciful than I think it is. And I have a very loving view of it. Very unconditionally loving. But I can expand that forever. And I will. But angels are really just higher frequency beings. You're an angel. I'm an angel. Right here, I'm living as an earth angel because I'm living as my higher self now. If you want to think about it that way. It's not an ego thing. It's just, being in alignment with God makes you an angel. Living in alignment with love makes you an angel. Sorry to spring that on you, you beautiful being, you. But yeah, no, I mean, if you want to I love looking at the law of one because it sort of just gives us breakdowns and definitions of ways we can look at consciousness and frequencies. And so at third density, you're not going to feel like an angel. You're going to feel very mixed. You may feel really bad about yourself, all this stuff. Fourth density, your heart chakra's open. You're positively polarized. You're feeling great about yourself. You're loving yourself. You're acting like an angel on earth. You're demonstrating God's love to other people. You're living through Christ consciousness at fourth density. And it doesn't take much to get to fourth density. It doesn't. It is an expansion. There is a purification process, all this stuff. But really, it's just an unlearning, a letting go of all the negativity, all the judgments, and embracing love as your truth. It can be that simple. I'm not saying I shouldn't say it's easy. It's not easy, but it is simple. It is really simple. Let go of the negativity, embrace love and positivity, because that's expansive. Love is positive. Love is expansive. Love accepts everything and is open to everything. As where fear rejects and denies and avoids. Love accepts and embraces. Love is kind and patient and all those things. And so, fourth density, you could say you're an earth angel here if you want to. I think it's nice. Nice to think about yourself that way. Makes you feel good, right? Feeling good is important. Feeling in love with all that is, with everyone and everything, with God, with source, with yourself, being in love, in the vibrations, the frequencies of love with everything, makes it so much easier to understand everything. Makes it so much easier to feel good, right? Because you're not putting yourself down all the time. When you're living at that level, like you really are your own devil, your own demons, because you're the one who keeps putting so much focus on these negative beliefs and this shame and this guilt and this anxiety and this depression and all this stuff. And not that we shouldn't ever, we need to feel those things if they're there, because you have to feel things in order to heal them. But We need to be a lot easier on ourselves. We are way, way, way too hard on ourselves. If there's one person you should be totally compassionate and understanding with, it's yourself. And from that place, it's so much easier to be compassionate and understanding with everyone else. It's so easy. But when we're hard on ourselves, it's so hard to be open and loving with everyone else. You know? And somehow, there are so many of us walking around who are so loving to other people and do not share that with ourselves. How is that even possible? It's crazy to me. It is. It's crazy to me. Like that we're that loving and we're that selfless. But then, of course, we become selfish when we make our pain and our problems and our low feelings everyone else's problem, you know, or lash out or get triggered or whatever, you know. So, but that's the good thing about learning to love yourself, about knowing who you are. And then beyond fourth density, there's fifth density beings who are just pure light bodies. And that's why whenever anyone sees an angel, a higher dimensional, higher frequential being, they appear as just bright light, and that's because they're literally a light body. That's what they are. That's what you are. That's your true nature, is being light, you know. From your higher self emanates all of your different incarnations. It's all happening simultaneously. You're living many lifetimes right now, as you're living all the lifetimes right now as higher density beings, as, you know, and all this stuff. And they're helping you. They're guiding you. Those are your guides. They are your spirit guides. So you're an angel. You're beautiful. You're perfect just as you are, if only you'll choose to see it. It was hard work for me to choose to see it. I used to hold so much shame and guilt, had so much anxiety, so much depression, so much fear. I just felt bad about myself all the time. And I put so much focus on it. I gave it so much power. I fed those demons on the daily, you know, like for real. It was bad. Yeah, just outright. It was not good. It was not fun. I learned a lot from it. I learned a whole fuck ton from it. But man, am I glad to be out of that place the majority of the time. Sometimes I still do get stuck in those lower vibrations, but just for a little bit of time, because then I recognize it. And I'm like, hey, what are we doing? We need to let go. We need to release. We need to ask God for help. And yeah, if you're wondering, how do I start this purification process? How do I start polarizing positively? How do I starve and kill off these demons, these attachments? Just ask for help. Ask God for help. When my awakening happened 2 years ago, I asked out loud for help. I said, is this all there is for me? Is this all my life will be? Show me. I don't know anymore. I don't know what reality is. It can't be this miserable. Can it forever? Like, you know? And it was like 3 days later that God sent me. God sent me exactly what I needed to remember who I am. And then after feeling really good about it for a few weeks, I, eventually was like, oh, my subconscious is still programmed to be very negative and stuff. And so then I went on the healing journey. But because I knew and I trusted what I went through, that I trusted that wisdom, my faith brought me to this higher place of being. I had to believe it before it could be my reality. So believe it before you see it. And you will see it. It is your choice. It is always your choice. These lower vibrational attachments, these demons, these devils, they have no power over you. None. Not in reality. In reality, you are a beautiful fucking being of light and love. That is who you are. And so we come down here and we play in the darkness, we play in the negativity. Laugh at it. Laugh at it, scoff at it, whatever you need to do. Be angry at it for a little bit, whatever. Whatever you got to do to process this shit. Because you deserve so much better. You deserve everything you've ever wanted. That is how loving reality is. You already deserve, you are already worthy of everything you've ever wanted. You are worthy of the most beautiful love. You are worthy of all the abundance. You are worthy of taking vacations and going amazing places. You're worthy of having beautiful found family, soul family in your life. You're worthy of all of it. You deserve all of it already. That's how loving reality is. Fuck anxiety, fuck fear, fuck demons, fuck devils, fuck all that shit. All right? Seriously. They have no power over you. None. You just need to believe it. Nothing has power over me. I am love. That's all I want to be. I'm tired of being negative. I'm tired of getting attached to those lower vibrations. That's not who I am. And it never will be. Much love, guys. I'll see you in the next one.